Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. This is Kenya Revolutionary. It's morning, very early, early in the morning, not very early in the morning, but it's morning nevertheless. Karibu sana, karibu sana. Today, we are going to explore this Ruto and his administration fighting to implement unjust laws. Especially today, what's making rounds right now is the whole uh, fee structure of college, university, how it's unfair to poor folks. They're trying to make it seem like, you can only be admitted and you can pay, your payment plan will be according to how much the income that your family makes or how much you make. So we'll go through that. We'll go through that. Yeah. Karibu sana, clean black sneakers. Nice seeing you this morning. Thank you so much, my sister. I'm glad to see you. So we are going to explore that a little bit and see how this thing is unjust. You can see there's a lot of movements. Gen Zs through different, of course, this college thing affects mostly Gen Zs because, the college age or university age, fits in under the Gen Z young folks. That let me just say that. Cheers to you too. Karibu sana coffee. I'm still, waking up a little bit. Kahawa. Yes, thank you. So anyway, so we are going to look at that and how Ruto is being pressured by these young folks. There's fire here, there, left, right, and center. So what he did today, like I said yesterday, if you followed my live, I told you how this administration is using bribery to quail the fires, identifying the faces of these different movements. You saw today he met with a bunch of university kids, university leaders, student leaders, that is, and invited them to State House. And after this meeting, you'll see that there'll be less noise because, probably he promised them, hey, I'll do X, Y, and Z, probably pay you or whatever the case is. And again, this goes back to what I have been saying. I played you a clip of that young man who used to work for IMF and told us how the West try to, make sure that the countries that they dominate, that they colonize, do not get educated, okay? That's why when they give you these loans, they take over most aspects of your society, the education part, education sector, health sector, of course, business too, and what you can import and what you can export, okay? They try to control that. And education is one of it. That's why you see they're bringing all these funny fee structures because they are trying to discourage folks from having high education. Africa they want you to depend on their universities in different countries. Because why is it that we have, the great universities are not in Africa? Yes, we have some. I'm not saying that we don't have any, but I'm just saying there are very few renowned university. And if you see the ones that are there, they're still being kind of run by these colonialists, okay? Why can't we have our own version of Harvard in Kenya, okay? Our own version of Yale, our own version of Oxford, our own version of Berkeley, okay? That's what we're talking about. And also, it is not just a matter of having our own version of Yale or Oxford. Why can't it be affordable to us? Okay, it should be affordable. Okay, so this is Koome, the Chief Justice, came out today and say if the bursaries, these governors and MPs gave out their bursaries, we can have free education as far as free education for the primary school and high school. We'll get all into that. So before I get started, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades, if you're just joining me right now, please do the honors, do the first order of business. Like the video. And if you haven't subscribed, you're watching this video, it's just been recommended to you and you don't know what this video is about. This video is about Kenyan politics, or should I say politics, and everything related to Kenya. So go ahead and subscribe if it's your first time. And if you're going to watch this on repeat, please go ahead and do that. You can always also have an opportunity to become part member of this channel. If you want to be part of the community, you know how to do. There's super chats, there's all that wonderful stuff. You can get there and throw a few coins if you feel like supporting the channel because you like it. that's up to you. You are not obligated to do so, but it's out of, it's up to you. But anyway, I see. Thank you for sharing and subscribing. Clean Black Sneakers. She's telling me the generation ahead of us deserves have part their what? The generation ahead of us deserve to have a part in their destiny. Yes, 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 yes. They do, they do, they do. So let's get started. Let's get started. Let's get started. Let me see here. Where do we get started? There's so much going on. I don't even know where to start, but we shall start nevertheless. All right. I want to start by what I told you before I get to the whole main mail, which is the education funding model that is not beneficial to majority of our youth, our young folks who are trying to get higher education. I want to mention something. This State House communication guy called Bitok said something that really, it was very arrogant of him to say. It's basically attacking the Gen Zs. Remember, the Gen Z movement, it gained its fame in the day June 25th, the infamous June 25th, when they, went to the parliament and occupied parliament, literally, and embarrassed, basically rendered parliament useless, showing the world that Kenyans have lost faith with their legislative body. Now, after that, there have been series of mandamano, most of them not so successful as the 25th, but we've had mandamanos. And after Nane Nane, which was kind of thwarted, we haven't had any mandamano, but there's one that is scheduled for the 27th, if I'm not wrong, which is next Tuesday, I think, which is scheduled. So we are waiting to see. But in between, there's been calm, relatively peaceful as far as non-protest activities that has been happening. And the government official, this communication people, Bitok, I forgot his first name, he's been saying something that has a little truth in it, but also quite not true. But he's kind of, he's baiting and picking on people. Here's what he's saying. Let me go to his tweet very quickly so we can get started before I get to the whole education funding model. Okay, let's get to it. Here is Gerald Bitok. That is what his name is. Okay, I remember seeing him on Spice FM some few months back, 8 months back, and he was really being destroyed by Buchache, I think, Muchache, whatever his name is. But here what he's saying. Here is what he said that I found interesting, okay? It kind of echoed what I was saying yesterday about the Gen Z and how the government has neutralized them, okay? Pacified the movement to where you don't see, there's not so much X spaces that are going on as it used to. We don't have any, Wakina Kimani, is it Kimazi, who said that he's waving the white flag because he feels like he's being attacked. Hanifa is embroiled in some, yo mambo ya pesa. And I said all this yesterday, but here it is. Gerald Bitok kind of, rubs salt on the wound, so to speak. Here is what he says. If you can read, let me read it for you very quickly. Okay, Gerald Bitok. How can a Kimuzi, remember, Kimuzi is one of the faces. He was more online. He was very active in online, setting up those X spaces and inviting people to come talk. Okay, so, and he's the one who I told you that he made a tweet and say that he's leaving the movement. And our channel mambo ya maandamano, he's tired, whatever the case is. So here's what it says. How kina Kimuzi and Hanifa, which, her handle is, Twitter handle is Hani Farsafi. So how kina Kimuzi and Hanifa walipeleka wapi X spaces? He's asking, where did they take the X spaces? I miss being chased like a stray dog and called unprintables. These hapless chaps were behaving like some uptown landlords, ejecting and insulting all and sundry, including their fathers. They rode on some sponsored air of fake self-importance. After collecting hard millions, Hanifa decided to go slaughter goats, toast, and celebrate with Boniface in Machakos. After extorting you and failing to account Now she is busy playing victim in a self-sanitization scheme that will equally fail. Kimuzi, who equally collected millions and in a laughable version promised you to execute a coup and form a transitional government, is back to his pixie tending in Israel. The other girl from my village, that's the Rift Valley girl that was taking a picture with Martha Karua yesterday, suddenly now has an NGO and is collecting 500 shillings to give you civic education, in quotes. Even this other newly contracted propagandist hype will die very soon. I think he's talking about Casmuel. I bet on both kidneys. Why? Because contracted propaganda and lies are not a sustainable cause or source of living, and Kenyans are smart enough to move on from it. The sad story is that young people are being hyped into a criminal craze and contracted by anarchists like mercenaries every day and left stranded in the desert to deal with consequences of their misactions on their own. As sad as this trend is, as the sponsorship dries, the media interview calls cease, and their X notifications dwindle, I hope everyone will get to pay for the full cost of their actions. Meanwhile, the sun of truth will keep rising, scorching the sponsored lies and propaganda to ashes. Hashtag delivering the plan is a cause on cause. No amount of propaganda and distraction will derail it. Man on a mission. So basically, this guy, Clean Sneaker, is saying, I don't have X. I think the platform is toxic. Yeah, I've never really took part on those on those X spaces. I tried, but it's very hard to like have a turn to speak because there was so many people, and they kind of picked on who they picked specific speakers. And when they opened the forum, it wasn't really, to me, it wasn't effective enough because it's like we are saying the same things, and it was just a therapy session, okay, where everyone was given. I mean, someone will go on for 30 minutes talking about what's wrong with this, government, and less of action plan. What should we do? What should we, so I was never a huge fan of those X spaces. But Bitok here says, he's basically saying that the Gen Z movement, the X spaces, the whatever, all these faces of this movement, they have went mum. They went mum, okay? Hanifa, akona hiyo story yake, he can't account for the man. Right, Clean. Yes, I agree with you. So Hanifa with her whole movement, Hanifa with all this scandal about the money she collected and how she, accounted for it, is kind of, there's a question mark over there. And Boniface Mwangi, like I said yesterday, Boniface Mwangi kind of, I'll watch your story. He's concentrating on some other things, probably. Kamuzi, who was also one of the guys who are really setting up those X spaces, for people to talk. He formally came in and said, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, he came and said he's no longer being involved in this. He feel like he's done enough, and he waved the like white flag. So the faces of this movement kind of, are nowhere to be seen. We're only left with Casmuel, who we saw is meeting up with Joho and not Joho, but who's the former Nairobi governor, Sonko and I guess I don't know how, Emilio Diambo. Then there's this young lady from Rift Valley or Wasingishu district who met. So what I'm saying is this: it's like the government is clamping down on any dissenting voices, and you saw that with Nuru Okanga. Actually, Nuru Okanga went and bidded farewell to Bunge la Wananchi. If you can, if you guys didn't see that, now, like I said, not Oscar Sudi, Nuru Okanga was the voices of the streets, so to speak. Yes, he had his own way, but he kind of alikuwa na sauti, whether you liked it or not. As funny as it sounded, as he's funny, but ndio huyo Oscar Sudi alishampatia kitu, and he went and he bid farewell to his congregants. So here it is, very quickly. Let's as we go on, like the video, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, and subscribe. Here is Oscar Sudi. Not Oscar Sudi. Why am I so Oscar Sudi? Ruto Kanga. If I can only expand this. All right, let's hear it.
Nilipofika pale town mahali aliniambia nimkute, akaniambia pana, nimetoka hapo kuja samaki. Nikaingia kwake. Kufika hapo, kuingia kwa social media, kwanza simu ikapigwa. Oscar Sudi amepost kwa Facebook yake, tuko na yeye saa hii. Nikashtuka. But nikajua ni mambo ya siasa, nataka tupige siasa. Mimi nikashukuru. So mtu wa kwanza nataka nishukuru. Nataka nichukue hizi sifa zote niweke kwa Obina, kuhakikisha nimekutana na Oscar Sudi. Sifa ya pili nataka kuchukua niweke kwa bunge la mwananchi Jakaranda. Wale ambao wanasimamanga hapa, amsimame hapa bure. Wakati mimi nimechomoka na nimekutana na Oscar Sudi, kuna kitu nitafanya kwa hii bunge. Mimi kabisa.
Anyway, so you saw that Oscar Sudi is somebody who is really close to the government. They bought him a house. Nani Sudi told Nuru Okanga that he will give him 1.3 million or whatever the case is. So you can see that everyone, anyone that's agitating for change or is not happy with this government, is challenging the government, is complaining and has a voice of some sort by mentioning what this government is doing wrong, is being silenced. And not only that, so even Nani, what's his name? I think there's somebody. The students today, if you remember, ladies and gentlemen, the students, as we get into the issue now, the students went and met the president. The head students, whatever the case is, they went and met the president. The president was trying to, hey, this funding, whatever the case is, I'll fix it, I'll straighten it up, whatever. Martha Koome, the CJ, even mentioned about Mambaya University funding. Let's hear Martha Koome, who said that these MPs should wanafaa wapatiane hizo basari ndio give up those bursaries so we can have free education. Here is she.
To our faces.
Here she is.
To remind, I stopped watching news because of these very depressing items that keep flashing to our faces to remind us how unequal and how unjust we are in our society. That a child who has qualified to go to the university can be there crying, saying, look, I've been put in band 5. This is band 5. When I ought to be in band 1, and therefore I cannot afford to go to the university. And when you follow, you find the child of a well-to-do family has been put in band 1. When you follow, you also find that there is bursary fund given from the taxpayers' money, given to the governor, given to the women rep, given to the MP through CDF, given to the MCA. I hope none of them is here because they are going to lynch me. Now, all those bursaries, how are they disbursed? Why wouldn't you put them in education and make education free for all? So,
okay. Now, as you heard, she was mentioning there's band 1, band 2. There's so much stuff that, it's ni mnyangariko wa maneno, whatever the case, mnyambuliko wa maneno, the way they say it. Clean Black Sneakers says, the cowards are being removed from the movement. The real freedom and justice fighters have yet to arrive. It's just my personal opinion. You might be right. You might be right. Sometimes it takes wale masela out watoke mwanzo ndio the real ones, the real freedom fighters waingie. let's explore this whole university payment model that seems to be so convoluted. Let's go. I think I'll find it. It was on this gentleman's page. Okay, as I do so, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and do all that. Let me find this this funding model that is causing a lot of brouhaha, that is as confusing as I don't know what, but here it is. Let's see. If I can find it. I had it here. Where is it, Yamani? Crap. Yani kitu niwe. I should have had it before. Crap. Poleni sana Neo. I'm just trying to find this. There was a copy of this funding model that I wanted to show you, but I cannot find it. Crap. Anyway, let's get this video here as I go on. This video is from Olekina, who was explaining it. I had that copy of that Ninio because I wanted to explain how I wanted us to go through it and see how what it says about the funding, how the funding is done, which is kind of as confusing as the people who wrote it, okay? Who came up with it. But here is Olekina Ladama Olekina explaining it to us. Shoot. I don't know why I can't find it, but here it is. Let me play an in here.
Them scholarship. Number two, you want to give them loan model of funding universities, which is based on 3 areas. Number one, you say you want to give them scholarship. Number two, you want to give them loans. Number three, you want the families to be able to contribute a certain percentage. And then you further confuse it and you say, let us now discriminate the poor. You know, because in this country, we do not have a proper system of identifying who is poor and who is rich. Then you say, let's create several bands. You say, band one, the government will provide 70% scholarships to the extremely needy students. Then you go and say 25%, 25% will be given to that needy student as a loan. And then that needy student, who can barely even buy a pair of shoes, he is told, contribute 5%. Then you go down further, you actually, what you're doing, you know, whoever came up with this is the most confused human being on earth. Whoever, you know, what you're doing is that you are creating, you know, classes of individuals. Yes. You know, system of classes. You are classifying people. Even in school, they'll just be told, oh, what percentage of scholarship is this government giving you? 70%. Oh, so you're the poorest of the poorest. You know, those, you know, we have to go to say no to such kind of thinking. You know, everybody keep on talking about Africa being the future. Africa being the future. How can Africa be the future and Kenya is part of Africa, yet you're discriminating on the education policy that you're introducing for its citizenry? My colleague has just said the people who make it to the university are normally people who come from really humble and poor backgrounds. You know, now you are now creating a system, a class system, which will be influenced by those decision makers. I want to plead that we go back to the capitation system, whereby we allocate money to universities based on the number of students that they enroll. That's number one. Number two, I think it's about time that we really delve deeper into the system of devolution that we have in this country. There's a county, I think it was Mandera or Garissa, one of those 2 counties in the Northeast, that the governor came in and said, every student who goes to the university, we will pay 100% of their tuition. 100%. Let me tell you, my county of Narok, we are one of the richest counties in Kenya. You know, actually, I would dare say in East and Central Africa. You know, we collect, just in the month of July, the current estimates collection was 1 billion and I think 300,000, 1.0300, just 1 month in terms of revenue collection. If for proper governance and accountability, and also to be able to ensure that we support, young people, why not say each county allocate X number of money for your students? That's number one. Number two, also, we need to now to start asking ourselves whether this issue of where the Ministry of Education controls everything. You've just clearly indicated here that they carry about 27% of all the revenue collection in this country, as their budget. Right. Can we now start saying, can we relook at this issue of devolution and ask ourselves, how much can we devolve, education? How much can we devolve education? We can have policies. There are other jurisdictions, like in the United States, there are school districts. They're funded by, I lived in Massachusetts, and there's a school district from, let's say, I lived in a town called Concord. When you go to Concord and Carlisle school district, people are funded that way. And then ultimately, people are supported to go to the universities. If you go to universities, most universities in the world are well endowed. What makes it difficult for universities to become well endowed? If you look at the University of Nairobi, for instance, and you look at the most prime real estate in this country, it is owned by the University of Nairobi. What is that endowment? How do you manage that? So it all comes down to the issue of accountability, issue of transparency, and issue of inclusivity. So this model that has been introduced, to me, is self-defeating. To me, it will discriminate more. I don't want to keep on hearing this issue of Harambes. It's like we are all confused. We don't know what we're talking about. The government comes out and say, no more Harambe. Mheshimiwa, don't go to Harambe. Don't go to Harambe. Anybody goes to Harambe will see. Then you are now telling people, let's go for families, 5%. Mheshimiwa here is saying, we go to a church and we can raise money to pay for the need. Do we really know what you're talking about?
I like what you're saying, that financing also, counties can sit down and agree on how to support. But I'm just wondering, where would that sit in this separation of function?
Oh, no, it's very simple. Article 187 of the Constitution calls for sharing of functions, where if the county government can easily perform a particular function, it can have an agreement with the national government. And in fact, we keep on pushing for empowering of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee, now which we are amending the act to call it Intergovernmental Relations Agency. If we do it properly, we will not have the confusion we had in AMS. What's it called? The one for Nairobi? NMS.
Yes.
Because right now, the confusion we're having in NMS, I get people who call me on a daily basis. On a daily basis. There's a young girl, I'm trying to remember her name. She calls me, she's telling me she's almost losing her mind because she did some services for Nairobi County, and now she's told, your invoices are stuck in State House with NMS. And that is solely because we ignored the role of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee. So governments, the law provides for a way where if one function is better performed by another level of government, that function is transferred. The second function, which should actually be transferred, has to do with the issue of housing. Why should we concentrate every decision to the national government? Counties can be able to build houses. We have counties like Narok, which we have vast lands. We have kids who come from Loita. We have kids who come from Narosra, come from Emurwetikir. Why do we have to give money so that they can come into an urban center? Come on. That's, all these things really require proper thinking, and education is very, very key. Education is very, very key. Finally, just quickly, you are talking about having the community support these students. But when you look at even TVETs, even universities that you set up in certain areas, that community that lives there do not feel as if they are part of that university, because everything is controlled from the Ministry of Education in Nairobi. So all the decisions are coming up from Nairobi. The council of that university is determined from Nairobi. So that community there does not feel like this is our baby. They just feel like this is something that has been brought here. It is controlled by everyone. We have problems even in Narok. I'll give you a very practical example. There is a TVET, which is about 1 kilometer from where I live. We gave the land, our own land. We gave that land for it to be built, but we have no control over it.
Okay. So There you go. Hi, Gypsy. I hope you're doing well. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. That's Senator Oledekina. To me, all this points at one problem. It starts at the top. The devolution is actually not devolve, the so-called devolution, but it goes back to the same thing. What are the priorities of the local government and even the national government? Koome, I know she's playing politics by saying, "Oh, this the bursary, whatever." It's a claptrap, but she makes a good point. Easy pesa za bursaries from governors, whatever the case is, and MPs. Education should be free. Let me read you an article, not an article, a post by none other than Okiya Omtatah that says, kind of highlights something about this. Okay. Again, this goes back to our priorities. We don't prioritize things like education. Sisi watu wanatuma bursary alafu Let me read you Okiya Omtatah what he says about all this. The reason why we should have Ninio. Free education. We should even have free education, free university education. But not only should we have education, but we should have quality education. It's one thing to get education, but it's another thing to get quality education. Okay? See at education to peke yake. And that means hiring top-notch teachers, professors, all those people that can fundisha our kids. Okay? So here's what Okiya Omtatah wrote about this, relating to this matter. The Constitution of, I hope you can see the screen, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades. Here is what Okiya Omtatah wrote. This was 4 days ago, I think. The Constitution of Kenya, in Article 53(1)(b), states that every child has a right to free and compulsory basic education. So basic education is probably primary and secondary school. Okay, so back from the age that kid is, school age to up to high school, that should be free. So again, I'll start. The Constitution of Kenya in Article 53(1)(b) states that every child has a right to free and compulsory basic education, and Article 55(a), the state shall take measures, including affirmative action programs, to ensure that the youth access relevant education and training. Education has the transformative power of shaping the future of individuals and society as a whole, a cornerstone of personal and societal advancement. Access to quality education for all. Yes, quality, that's what I meant. That's why I mentioned it. Access to quality education for all, regardless of social economic background, is essential in ensuring a brighter, more equitable future. A UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goal 4, investing in education not only unlocks human potential, but also fosters innovation, growth, and progress for our nation. Kenya has one of the most youthful populations in the world, and it is growing. Speaking of Gen Z, we need to take strategic measures by investing in education and skills development so that the young people can be drivers of development. Our education system should be anchored on building for a foundation where everyone can reach their full potential and contribute to a more equitable and prosperous sovereign Republic of Kenya. Okay? So you see that, yes. Where Gypsy umeingia hapa na violence. Gypsy is telling us that equality free education is only for MPs' kids. But it's true. I know what you mean though, because our MPs, they send their kids to, actually, they send their kids to these huge universities overseas. I met a couple of, I wouldn't say they are the ministers' kids, Oku Maju, and it was so funny how these guys were living. They never paid rent. They had their school fees for the year paid for. The apartment complex that they were living in was paid for the year. So you can see that our majama, these government officials who these MPs who are supposed to create and make laws and governors who should ensure that every child has quality education. They don't care about that. Instead, that money, they steal it, misappropriate it, and use it to send their kids in universities overseas, somewhere in Australia, Great Britain, America, China, whatever, you name it, India, instead of helping the people in Kenya. That's what these leaders don't get. They don't get their, they don't have that it doesn't, the light is not on in their heads. Our oniati being self-sufficient is actually better than depending on Ninio. And it's done by design. Like I said, that little clip that I played for you about IMF, this is it's all about making nations deeply depend on Western countries. If you want higher education, you go to the Western countries. If you want to higher healthcare, tuseme umekuwa mgonjwa and hiyo ugonjwa imezidi, if you don't have enough money to fly yourself to, Britain or America or Australia, you're doomed. Which it shouldn't be like that. Unaona wa minister wakikuwa wagonjwa, they usually fly. I remember Anyang' Nyong'o, when he was sick, he flew to the US to go take care of his health problem. Okay, Raila, when he was going to have surgery, alienda, was it India or South Africa or Germany or whatever the case is, It shouldn't be that way. We should have a hospital in Kenya that can actually, take care of the health problems that our citizens have. Same thing with education. We don't need to have people, lining up in the embassy, paying exorbitant amount of money to get a visa so they can come to US or go to Great Britain or go to Australia, or whatever the case is, just to get an education. Okay, we should have our own high education institutions that provides quality education. This is something that has to be done. So this model ambayo discriminates against poor people is something that we do not need. Everybody, there's enough money from what are these people budgeting? Our parliamentarians, what do? The legislative body, they should be budgeting for to strengthen these academic institutions to provide quality education. Quality education comes if you pay well these academicians, these professors, pay them well to do their research, pay them well, partner with, other universities from Western governments, train them so that they can give our kids a chance and quality education. If you have quality education, you have a better chance of making it life because you are marketable. You can be employed. You can earn a lot of money or reasonable wages or salaries where you can live on. And it also can, spur development. You can innovate. You can, do a lot of things if you know stuff. If you're an engineer, for example, if you went to a nice school, let's say in University of Nairobi, and they have a wonderful engineering program, and you become an engineer, you can help, design whatever, build a building there, infrastructure that we so desperately need in Kenya. That's how it works, and it helps the economy. Now the trucks can safely move in our highways and deliver whatever they need to deliver. You see how it works, okay? I'm just giving an example so you can get the whole point of why education is important, okay? Now, Clean Black Sneakers is saying, lots of universities and colleges will close if system isn't upgraded and revamped. These folks have gotten too comfortable with this giving out of monies and scholarships. Yes. What's with these people? It's so sad when you see these politicians stand there. Like I saw, not only Babu Owino did it, and I saw another Ninio did it. People, watu panga laini, and then he gives them $100 or so, not 100 shillings or whatever shillings he's giving them. Now me line up and wapatia tizi ni pesa basari. What kind of silliness is this? Okay, ini ujinga. It's no. They want to use rules from 1800. It's not working in 24. It's 24. Yes, you are right. Yani jamaa wamepanga laini wanapewa pesa. I even saw Kalwale do it in somewhere in Sinyalu or whatever the case is. ati hiyo ni pesa ya basari, mnapiga laini, mnapewa pesa kama ni kama anawapimia njugu, anawapimia uji. What is this? Na ni 2024. You know, this is not right. So these are the things that also Gen Zs are agitating for. That's why Ruto had to call a quick meeting to meet the students, leaders from every university, major universities in Kenya today, in order to convince them. He's probably going to bribe them, or patie milioni tatu, or whatever the case is, so that they can be quiet about that issue. You see, that's the sad thing about our education system. There's nothing, this should not be, to see politicize anything here. This is just a matter of wrong and right. But the problem, again, the underlying problem in Kenya is that corruption runs rife. People don't think. People think about their stomach only and their stomach only. Nothing more, nothing less. Instead of thinking about your community, salary MP is enough for them to live comfortably. Okay, why not do the right thing? Make laws that can actually benefit people, represent people the right way. Governors, you have enough perks that comes with being a governor. Provide for your people. I saw Nani, Gladys Wanga. Gladys Wanga responded to the whole the whole report that she was alikuwa na bomoa hiyo building ya factory to extend to build her office, governor's office, and her response was, oh, that building was on the flight pathway or something like that. It was attracting a lot of birds, which will affect flights landing or taking off. I mean, what is this? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't think Kenya has a STEM program. To be fair, let me just be okay. Let me give you a more correct answer. I'm not sure. I do not know. Let me just tell you that I do not know, because the education system kind of changed from when I left. So let me say that. But the last time I checked, when I left, they didn't have anything. They didn't have any STEM program in schools. Well, they didn't call it STEM. I went through KCPE back then, and I had the KCPE model was changed. Not KCPE, what is the 844 system? Sorry, 844 system, the KCPE. 844 system, where you have 8 years of your first elementary school, 4 years of high school, then 4 years of university. But they've already changed it. So, but within this, when you go to high school, I think you had like when you were on what do you call it, grade 11th, is it 11th and 12th grade, you had to choose from sciences. It was quite, but anyway, just to answer you, back then when I was back there, it was not called STEM, so to speak, but it was a mixture of sciences and so now they've changed it. I don't know when they changed it. Some years later they changed the system, and I don't know what they have now, so I can't really speak on how they. Thank you for the super chats, Miss Clean Black Sneakers. Thank you for your super chats. Again, Gypsy Corner says, "Who works with 2 million shillings in the name of offertory bribing the religious leaders in quotes?" Gypsy on some something, okay? But yeah, so you see, whatever. But anyway, so that's what's happening. It all comes down to one thing: corruption and misplaced priorities. Instead of investing on our young folks, people think about becoming billionaires. Okay, so yes, they do. Do they have vocational schools where you learn electronics, electricity, and construction, for example? Yes, they do. They used to have polytechnics where you could go and learn, to become an electrician. I think when you went there, it was a 2-year 2-year program where you can learn to become an electrician or stuff like that. That's back then when I was there. I don't know what's going on right now, so I can't really speak on it, like I said. But back then, they did have polytechnics where you can learn things like, becoming an electrician or construction work and all that stuff. You could learn there. But at that time, back then, when I was there, construction wasn't really something that people learned per se. It is something that you learned from somebody who used to do it. Okay, the young folks in the village, they would learn from people who do it. The so-called engineers. They tell you what to do or whatever, and you learn that way. It wasn't something as construction. It's not the construction that something similar to the construction here, like let's say in the US. It's not the same, but but as far as like being an electrician, being a welder, welding, stuff like that, vocational school, we used to call it polytechnics. Yes, they did have those. I don't know if they still have it. I'm assuming they still do. It's been a while since I've been back home, so I do not want to speak on something I do not know about as far as the current situation. So maybe someone in the chat can come in. Those types of programs are, yes, they are. Yes, they are, because not everyone can make it to the. For those of, because it used to be like this. Okay, this is how it was. The top students from high school who performed really good would go to the university, the top universities, okay? Then the rest can actually go to these polytechnics where they can learn this vocational, they will go to this vocational school where they can learn a skill, whether it's welding, so forth, stuff like that. Or you can go to culinary school. That was back then. That's how they used to do it. Okay. But now I've heard there's a bunch of schools, private schools that, you can go to, and yeah. Just curious. Okay. Hands-on experience. Yes. But again, they used to be, let's say, like Strathmore, Daystar College, if I remember that from back in the day. I think these were private schools that you could go learn accounting and all this stuff. They were colleges, basically, where you can learn this. And but again, it came down to whether you had money or not. If you don't have enough money, you're not going to make it. It comes down to, if you do not have money, the poor folks, the students, the bright students that did not have money could not make it to school. And that's where the problem lies. It shouldn't be that the bright kids who come from poor backgrounds cannot access education. It should be that the young folks who achieve good grades and are smart should be able to be afforded scholarships and stuff like that. Okay. So, but just to answer your question, it all came down to money. If you did not have money to go to these colleges, whether they're privates or vocational schools or the university, you were doomed. Okay. So that's why you have a bunch of young folks who have degrees and are jobless. They don't have jobs. So, yeah. So how are jobs being created without skilled workers? Absolutely. That's why you hear our president, he's talking about, I'm going to find you guys jobs in Saudi Arabia. I'm going to find you jobs in this silly stuff, and the jobs that really does not require any skill. Basically, you're going to become a housemaid in Saudi Arabia somewhere, making nothing. Okay. That's how ridiculous this president is. He's not pragmatic. If he had some sense in him, he would try to create jobs for the young folks that are there. Not only that, also invest in education, strengthen these academic institutions, okay? Have quality education. That's so that these young folks can learn something that they can actually apply and be marketable and build the country, okay? But instead, he's talking about, I'm going to Germany to find you jobs. I'm going to Saudi Arabia to find you jobs. Who say they? I mean, do you want to send your whole country to other countries? I mean, how does that make sense? What is this? Slavery? So yeah, that's why Ruto he needs to go. He needs to go. Gypsy Corner, corruption. Corruption in Kenya was embedded in 1960. Right now, Raila the conman, Uhuru the slime, and Ruto the political smarty pants have all upgraded the corruption and nepotism. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Financial sabotage. Yes, it is financial sabotage. I heard him say that I almost fainted. Yes. Jobs are created in Kenya by sending them abroad to chambermaid. Right. I mean, how does it make sense? He's talking about, oh, I'm going to find our young folks jobs in Germany. That's why I'm going to Germany. Oh, I'm going to Saudi Arabia so I can find you jobs. Who say they want to? Not everyone wants to go to Germany. Not everyone wants to go. Ideally, we would like to stay home in Kenya and work and learn and build the country, not go to these foreign lands. Okay. But again, his reasoning is, yeah, he needs to go. Ruto needs to go. He needs to go. He needs to go. He needs to go. Speaking of Raila and his embedded corruption, there's what's that man's name? By the way, if you guys don't know, there's in Gongrong, I think in Ngong Road today, there's some kind of the Matatu people are protesting so far because they're tired of the bribing the police who are stopping them to ask for bribes. They are not happy about that. So I guess the Matatu people at Ngong Road are staging a protest there because they're tired of bribing the police or police asking them to bribe. Chief Negus, nice seeing you, sister. I hope you're doing well this morning on my part. I don't know what time you are in, where there, but nice seeing you again, my sister. She says, Ruto sending young people away for jobs is really about getting as many people as possible off the land so that foreigners can grab it up. Yes, foreigners are actually grabbing stuff up through this whole climate change nonsense. If you read about this whole climate change, whatever, climate, carbon credits, and all this nonsense, it's all about grabbing land. And Kenya gave up, I don't know how many acres of land, huge land to, I think, UAE for climate bull stuff. Yeah. Go check on that. Yes. Then you're convinced. Chief Nigga says, then he wants to stuff the rest of us into concrete boxes, 30 stories, in the sky under supposed affordable housing. Yes. Now, this is that's the debate that we were talking about last time. When we were talking about the affordable housing. And part of the debate was, greetings, Chief Negus. We were talking about why does Ruto feel like, what makes him think that majority of Kenyans want to be in a small apartments-like building? Because you have the right to live wherever you choose to live. And majority of the people always go to these cities to find job. But eventually, once they finish their career or working in the city, they would like to retire up country and build a house of their liking, of their how they want it, depending on how much they make and of course the money they have. So why are you trying to build all these projects? In the US, we call them projects. Projects are really known for, it's not really, it's a low income housing, basically. These are basically like projects, apartment complex. This is not what people want, and that's what's part of the debate when there was this housing levy debate that was going on. That was part of the argument there. So yeah, I'm sorry, but the leadership there is a bail on the backside. Is a boil on the backside of the citizens. I'm trying not to cuss. It's okay. You can cuss. Ruto sending young people abroad. Climate change, innuendos, and affordable housing are all connected. In coming future, it will connect if #Ruto must go doesn't work. Yes. Gypsy Kone is saying Kenyans don't own land. We are the guardians of our own land, colonizers and rich blip on the land. Absolutely. They have aggressively want to own Kenya. We are going to be renters. We are going to be renting Kenya. We'll be living there and paying the colonizers rent. Okay. That's the sad part. Chief Negus says, can you imagine the insanity of sending your population most energetic and vibrant demographic halfway across the world? Then they should be at home. When they should be at home, building their nation. Absolutely. It's pure madness. And he says it as if, hey, I'm finding you jobs. Yeah. The Mandamano is coming. Do not forget, there's a Mandamano on the 28th, if I'm not wrong. There will be a Mandamano, and it's the drums of Mandamano beating again. The Gen Zers, they seem to not be going anywhere.
Get ready, because this time round, Sasa, Gen Zs, get ready. Gen Zs, get ready. The finance bill that we shut down of 2024 is coming back again. Get ready, because this time round sasa ni kufinish kumalo. Sahi sasa hakuna vitu mingi. Sahi ni kufinish kumalo. We are finishing what we started. Oh, and by the way, this time round, it is not going to be Gen Zs alone. This woman is also joining us.
Naitwa Josephine Mwangi, na mimi ni mama Gen Z. Na nimekasirika sana na watu wanacheza na sisi. Watoto walikuwa kwa siriti juzi, wakitagataga huko, wakikufiaga huko. Hao akina bandi walikuwa wanatiambia Ruto anatufinya. Ni nini kizuri wameenda huko wakapata, ndio wakuja watugeuke sisi mama boga na watoto wetu. Wanataka watoto warudi huko kwa siriti.
Tumechoka man.
Wakufia huko.
Tumekataa. We are just tired, bro. Wewe umeingia hapo treasury juzi ushaanza kusema tile finance bill letu. Because kumbu, hii mentality ya mtu wetu akiingia kwa government sasa vitu zitakuwa sawa, ati yako na ideas kuliko wenye alikuwa kwa government. Stupidity of the highest level. So Kenyans, get ready, because it seems like these people don't understand the language that we are speaking. Umenipata? Yeah, they just don't understand. So long as they are there, they don't understand. So me, I want to urge the government, the president in particular. Mr. President, wachana na hiyo story ya finance bill. Mr. President, wachana na hiyo story ya finance bill. Mimi ninakuambia kama ndugu yako, I also want you to succeed as a Kenyan, because I know that if you as the president succeeds, me as a citizen of Kenya succeeds. But if you don't succeed, if you fall, I am telling you the truth, this country will fall. Misi kudanganyi, when you fall, this country will fall. And it will rise again. Even without you, Mr. President, it will rise again. Kwa saizi, we just want you to succeed. Lakini bado tunaona, finance bill zinaanza tena kuintroduciwa. We are getting ready for it. The moment we just see that parliament tena imekuwa whipped in a way that they are not representing us in a way that we don't want, there will be no, now this one will be finishing and mallowing. Finishing and mallowing. There is no two ways about it.
Okay. Very quickly, let's see. Mabri is telling me, first, why is that no affordable housing, I think, has been set up in rural areas? I am requesting you look into the World Economic Forum, the White House, Breakfast Ruto, and Atupeana Bana. Yes, the World Economic Forum, led by, what's his name, Strauss-Kahn, whatever his name is, that evil old man, that he actually mentioned that there will be something. A few days ago, he said that there's something great that's about to happen, something huge that's about to happen. So, of course, they're already pushing for that monkey business. Monkey business, you know what I mean? I can't say it because of YouTube, but you know what I mean. Ile monkey business unachapwa hiyo shindano. Okay? Yeah, and already you had Kenya, Ruto na health nini wameanza kusema ati shindano zitaanza kupeanwa by December. Hiyo ilikuja kwa World Economic Forum. Okay? So, yeah. Mabri, yeah, I'll look into it. I know about World Economic Forum. Wow, mashitani kabisa. Chief Negus anasema Ruto is being used by the globalists to usher in 15-minute cities with this affordable housing nonsense. They want to control our land, food, freedom of movement, and reproduction. Yes, they want to. Bill Gates and his hiyo mambo yake ya unasikia anataka kupiga kuninio, even the cows, he wants to patia cows hiyo kitu. So yes, you are right. 15-minute cities, I've heard about it. Sijui, I think they've started it in is it in Switzerland or Sweden? One of the countries, the Swiss countries, 15-minute cities, they've kind of started it. This globalist. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Na wataanza hiyo maneno vile tukiendelea. And yes, they are controlling us by our food production through this selling of their GMO seeds and selling us their patented GMO seeds and encouraging us not to use our natural seeds. In fact, they want to outlaw the natural seeds that you have. Ulisikia ile ninio controversy ambayo walikuwa nasema ati huwezi kupanda ndengu or something like that, seeds. Basically, they want to outlaw you from growing natural seeds, using natural seeds to grow crops. They want you to buy those patented seeds by Monsanto and all that stuff. Okay, so that's how, that's how they control the food production. So I agree with you, Chief Negus. Yes, yep. Kenya is an excellent country to live in if you have financial resources. What Ruto needs to be doing is creating a conducive manufacturing and business environment and uplifting more people out of poverty instead of Ruto is helping the colonialists to fulfill their original colonial plan, which was to make Kenya a white man's country. Yes, it's more of the globalist, okay? Because hata wazungu wamekataa mambo ya globalist. Ukiangalia Germany, if you look at France wanajaribu, but they're also fighting the same globalists. But you know, yeah, I get your point though. Yeah. Agree, absolutely. Yes, I do buy black sneakers. Yeah. There are problems that can be solved, but they refuse to do it to keep control on the people. Absolutely. And yeah, ndio nilikuwa nawaambia. In fact, before I go to, right, I want to show you. I'll renew it very quickly again. I think it's a short renew, but I think it's a very, very important It's a very important ninio that I played yesterday, and I'll play it again. It's just a short, quick ninio that pretty much sums up what you are going through and how why Ruto is doing what he's doing. Ruto is a control puppet. Can you see that? Klaus Schwab, this is the head of the WEF, World Economic Forum. Unaona alisema era of shock events is coming ahead of 2024 elections in America. So you see how this is all connected. If you remember the last, anyway, I don't want to go deep to that rabbit hole, but you see what I mean. So yeah, yep, absolutely. So again, that's little Ninio I wanted to show you from yesterday that I played. Let me see. Just give me a second. Ladies and gentlemen, like the video, share, comment, do all the good stuff. See, do not hesitate, my friends. Well, here it is. It's kind of similar to what happened in Zambia, Zaire. Here, look at
gave up control over their economy to the IMF. This was not a conspiracy. It was just like a known thing, meaning the government of Zaire had to place IMF officials in its government, in the treasury, in control of the economy. And we would shape the economy usually to do two things in the tropics. We would focus on extractive industries. So like, let's get this stuff out of the ground as fast as possible without any benefits accruing to the local population. In fact, we'd often like ruin the environment around them and, you know, make their life miserable. And number two, agriculture stuff. So we would like force them to do this like monocrop kind of industrial scale agriculture, usually of things that they couldn't eat, that they would export to us for our consumption. Palm oil, rubber, tea, coffee, etc. So we would like engineer their society to do this and to be more dependent. In order to do so, this is an export-led model. You want the exports to be cheap, right? So that means you need the currency to be weak. So we would devalue the currency again and again and again and again. And you basically want to like shrink the economy. Like you don't want the government to be like providing any subsidies to its people or like healthcare, education. No. That's only for rich countries. Now, of course, the dictator takes his cut. But beyond that, there's like nothing for the people left over.
Yep. You saw that. So you see the same play. It's the same play that they're using in Kenya. Yeah. Nyinyi mnaambiwa what to ninio, Ruto takes his cut. Meanwhile, corruption inaendelea. You know, you see how they work? Majamaa, they are that's why unasikia hizi upuzi za climate change. By the way, Ruto has been invited September 14th in Germany, you know, as a NATO ally. Kwa party sijui gani au Germany. Ruto is just a gone puppet. Like ujamaa, he's just something. He needs to go. There's nothing that he's going to help us with. Okay? Now, with our friend, kuna rafiki yetu hapa. Okay, wait, what the hell? All right, here it is. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so this guy Linjiru came back
in East Germany. Communist government. Yes. Although he said now he's taking a step back from local government. Yes. Although he said now he's taking a step back from local politics and he's going on to continental politics. Yes. Your thoughts, Lee? What are your thoughts? Because you interacted with him for many years. Yeah, Raila, yes, of course. I have been watching Raila for a long time. You know, this gentleman standing in East Germany, communist East Germany. And I tend to believe that he imbibed this communist theory about the disorganization and reorganization of organized organization. Say that again. The what? Disorganization. Yes.
and the reorganization of organized organizations. In simple terms, wherever Raila enters, however organized it is, he has to disorganize and reorganize it to suit his own interests.
Mm-hmm.
He did it in Kanu during the time of Moi. He did it during the time of Kibaki. He did it during the time of Uhuru Kenyatta. And he has done it once more. But I do not blame Raila. Because why do you go to politics? It is to attain your objective.
Yeah.
And what is the objective? As I've been saying, times without a number. Politics is not rigid. Politics is malleable. It's like the neck of a goose. You can twist it.
Yeah.
But of course, eventually, it turns towards one direction, the stomach. Raila and his people, they need to eat. And he himself, he has confessed that that is his objective. Because you remember talking the time of Kibaki, he was telling Kibaki, if you stay up there, eating honey up there, with a beehive, eating honey there, and you are not giving me some, I'll light a fire below here. And when I light a fire below here, I'll attain two objectives. One, I will hit your bottom and make you uncomfortable. Number two, the honey will melt and I'll wait for it down here. So Raila is looking for honey, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah.
I do not blame him. Yeah.
Oh Lord. So, Raila is looking. Speaking of which, I brought that up because, of course, Raila is on his way to AU. Well, he's hoping to become AU chairperson, and he gave he had a speech that he gave today, I believe, and he was talking about the same. He was talking about climate change for Africa. Speaking of climate change that we were just mentioning, the way you're
the Amazon, the Congo forest. Africa, for example, has got also one of the biggest carbon sinks in the world, the second largest of the Amazon, the Congo forest. So Africa needs to be compensated. But if we go as Kenya, we go as DRC, Nigeria, Guinea, Senegal, Egypt, Algeria, South Africa, then we're not listening to you. They keep on taking you round and round and round. I've told you because I've told you I've been to these international conferences, these COP conferences. The resolutions are being passed. You can talk until your voice is hoarse. But after that, people pack up and go. Heads of state jump or come in on jets, land and quick there to go and make speeches. Making speeches back on the jet and go back. They wait for the next other conference next year. So the people who are just going doing those conferences, they move from one conference to another conference. Each year they take 2 months or 3 months camping in those conferences. But nothing concrete comes out of them. You must make sure that something concrete comes out of those conferences. The African Union can be the champion of this. African Union should be able to speak more effectively on behalf of the interests of Africa if the African government give it the power and the mandate to do so. And that's the reason why I've offered myself to run for the position of African Union chairmanship. I hope that I will be able to use that position effectively to represent Africa, to make sure that Africa claims this century.
All right. He is on his campaign now. Gypsy is saying, Conman Raila going to AU doesn't change anything. He will wiggle his way back to the presidential ballot paper. Don't trust a conman in a suit. Ay, ay, ay. Ah, he's right. Talk is cheap. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. This is my first session in the morning. I'll probably come back again. Well, in the afternoon, maybe. Yeah. Or late in the evening. But thank you so much, guys, for this morning session. It's been an hour, 15 minutes. I'll stop there. I want to thank, special thanks to Clean Black Sneakers for your super chat. Thank you so much. Gypsy Corner, as usual. Thank you so much. Nice seeing you. Who else? Chief Negus. Thank you so much. My sister. Nice seeing you. Moya Backup. Yes, your comment. You're saying something here. High free education structure is another scam like all Zakayo projects. And I am glad CJ Koome has said that this higher education financing model further promotes inequality. Absolutely. I'm glad she said it too, because it's making rounds. Okay. And yeah. So thank you guys for being here. Somebody else I'm forgetting that said was part of this chat. If I forgot you, please forgive me. There was somebody else. I know there was somebody else. There was somebody else that I'm not going to miss his name or her name. I have to. There's was this Mibiru or something? I forgot that name. I have to shout you out. Mabry, yeah. Mabry, thank you so much for joining us for this session. I'll be back again in the evening for another one. For everyone who has been part of it, thank you so much, so much, so much. You guys are awesome, wonderful. Yes. Thank you to you too, Gypsy. Thank you for Clean Black Sneakers too, and everybody who has been part of this. See you guys in the evening or at night, your time, depending on where you are. I'll be back. So put your notification on so that when I come in live, you can always see me. But you have to subscribe to get the notification. So yeah, subscribe, share, comment, like, and all that good stuff. I'll see you guys later. Chief Niggas, thank you so much too. I'll see you guys later. Peace and blessings.